There we go. Had to choose. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Constant Agitation. Happy Valentine's Day for those who are celebrating, or happy Discount Chocolate Day, or Discount Chocolate Day Eve for those that also celebrate. Stock up now because before you know it, Cadbury cream egg time will be upon us. So, hello. Hello. Hopefully you're all doing well. I'm doing all right. Mentally a bit, going through a bit of a rough patch, but I've got my art and I've got my first love right here. Black and white film. Going to be developing a couple of roles for you tonight, including a roll of film that I have never, ever developed before. And I'll get to that as we progress on with tonight's proceedings. But as opposed to the title of my autobiography, Constantly Agitating. Yes. How are you doing, low bass guy? But yeah. So we are going to be doing some film developing, and if you've seen this before, welcome back. Always enjoying the pleasure of your company. I don't usually do this on a weekend. I'm not usually streaming on weekends, but it is a long holiday weekend. It's President's Day weekend here in the United States, and I initially had some plans for this weekend, but they all fell through, which means extra streaming. Extra streaming, and also I just switched to a new internet service provider. I have fiber internet, which means I do not have to worry about whether I have enough bandwidth at any given moment to actually stream. So here we are. Here we are. So we're gonna be developing again 2 rolls of film. Life be lifing. Yeah, that's basically where I am at the moment. So the stars of our show this evening is going to be a couple of medium format rolls of film. I have a roll of Ilford Delta 400 speed film, which I've shot a lot. This is my typical go-to film. And the other roll is Ilford Delta 3200, which I've never used before until this past... It was Martin Luther King Day weekend, yes. Me and my spouse and I, we took a bit of a long weekend in the Berkshires of Western Massachusetts. And while we were there, we were visiting an old Gilded Age style mansion. It was built during the Gilded Age. It's called Ventfort Hall. It's in Lenox, Massachusetts. And it initially was in the family of J.P. Morgan. And because it's dim light in there, obviously, I needed a film that could shoot in there. So we're going to find out. Right there, low bass guys, the reason why the biggest reason why I will never trust AI or Gen AI or any of that. It can't even get voice-to-text transcription right. What makes you think that Gen AI is the be-all, end-all in the next wave of the future? But I digress. But yeah, 3200 speed film. I've never shot with before, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this, which means that the developing is going to be just a little bit different. Just a little bit different with that. So, well, let's just dive right in, I suppose. So again, if you've never seen this before, now if you have seen this before, again, welcome back. Always enjoyable. If you've never seen how film gets developed, I hope you are in for a treat. You are in for a treat, and I hope you learned something. This is what we do when we're not shooting digital. This is what photographers do when, or at least what I do when I'm not shooting digital. I shoot film. It was the first love, as I said. It's what I started off learning how to do in high school, shooting 35mm black and white Kodak Tri-X and T-Max, and now we've moved up to a medium format, which is There is, as far as the film, the specific film stock is concerned, there's no difference between Ilford Delta 35 millimeter and Ilford Delta medium format. It's the same film. Medium format's just almost twice as big. The developing steps are exactly the same. You just need more chemical. So, how do we develop film? As you can see, I'm in the presence. I'm in full light. How do you develop film without a darkroom? Let me adjust the camera so that you get to see the stars here, so that you don't need to see, you can just see what we've got here. In order to develop film without a darkroom, the very first thing that you need is this thing called a film changing bag. It is a double layered black bag in which we shove all these components into the bag. There's a zipper and a Velcro at this end. And I need to lower that because my music is blaring in my ears. So, it's kind of interesting. They say the reason Delta 3200 is so great is we need to develop it. Well, because I have never shot with 3200, I am developing it at box speed. It's the first time I've used this film, so I want to see what it looks like at base, at box speed. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. But yeah, so double layered black bag on this end. That's where the zipper is. It's where the Velcro is. We're going to shove all of these components in here, and then I stick my hands into the sleeves here at the other ends and manage to get this film onto this roll and then put all of it into this developing tank. This is the hardest part of the entire process because you have to do this entirely by touch. Because if you get light onto this, it's game over. So you have to, again, this was, when I was learning how to do this back in high school, this was the hardest part. Now, as I said, I have 2 rolls of film. I've already done this with 1 roll. It's down in the cabinet below here. That's going to be the second roll we developed tonight. That's the Delta 3200. We're starting off with the Ilford Delta 400. So, all right, so we have the film. What are the other parts of this whole developing tank setup? Well, we have the tank itself. Black tank, nothing in it at the moment. But in it is going to go this spool of which we load our film onto. This is an adjustable spool. It can collapse down to 35 millimeter, or you can expand it out and get it set for medium format. Now, I like these particular plastic spools because they've got nice big guides for you to load the film on. Other developing tanks, other plastic spools, you have like, it'll be bare and you'll have these like 2 tiny little teeth that you're going to kill yourself trying to put the film through. I like these spools so much because it makes the job so much easier. There are also metal tanks with metal reels. Those are also, at least for me personally, a bitch to load. Some film photographers swear by them. I swear at them for all the frustration that I get trying to load up on here. But yeah, so in the dark, I load the film right up through these guides, and then there are 2 ball bearings here that grab the film and pull it forward. And the film winds up onto these grooves here. And then once the film is all done, we take this little this center plastic piece, shove it right up the ass there, no lube, and then we put it in the developing tank. Then we put the funnel in which we're going to pour the chemicals into. We screw it on when we have our lid, and then that's it. And then it's ready for developing. The funnel is light tight. So once everything's in, I can take it out of the bag and we're ready to go. All right. So, let's do this for realsies now. As the kids say. So we're gonna load all this stuff in the bag. The college that I went to also had, we were lucky enough to have what was called film changing rooms, in which they were just very, very tiny, basically light tight closets, which you didn't need the film changing bag. You could still do everything you needed to. There was a little like table in each one, but you still needed complete darkness in order to do it. So you're doing this all by touch. So now we just shove our arms in there. There's a tight ring of elastic at the ends of each sleeve to provide a good sort of seal on the on your arms, as it were. So all right, so let's do this, and I'll just narrate as we go. There, I've grabbed the spool. There's the film. That's not the film. That's the plastic bit. There's the film. So now I am breaking the ceremonial seal on the film. Medium format film has a paper backing, which is something that 35mm does not have. And that paper backing is typically for cameras to read, to let the camera know whether you're shooting either 12 exposures, 16, or if it's a roll of 220 film, whether it's double length. All right, we've broken the seal. I'm pulling back the paper backing to reveal the plastic celluloid herein. Where is it? There it is. Now, because it's been wound up, it's going to want to fight you. It always does. I've grabbed the film spool. We're loading it in, guiding it through those plastic bits that I mentioned before. There we are. They've caught on the ball bearing. And now we ratchet. We just turn one forward so that the film loads up onto the spool. As we get closer to the end, I'm going to start feeling tension. And that is because the film is attached to the center using a piece of masking tape. So I have to peel that masking tape off. We don't want that in our developing tank. There we go. I've just separated the masking tape from one end. Now I'm getting it off the film. Come on. You can do it. There we go. And now we just spool the film all the rest of the way through. There we are. It's done. Now we're going to take that plastic rod. There we go. We just jammed it right up its ass. Load the spool with the rod right in the center. There's the funnel. Screwing the funnel on. Lid's on. And there we are. You're working on some 3D art with your Togruta character. Nice! So everything I just described, the film is now in here. And what's left, this is the paper backing that I mentioned. So it's black on one side, and on the back of it, it's there are numbers which tell the camera, are we like, where is it for exposure 1? Because you can shoot 16, depending on the medium format camera you have and the backing that's on it, you can shoot 12 images, in which each image is going to be a square, or 16. My camera, my camera has the the rectangular backing, so it allows me to shoot 16 exposures instead of 12. So yeah, that's, and here's the little piece of masking tape that was holding the film to this plastic bit. So that just all gets chucked. Film's in. We are ready to go. I'll just move that off to the side. I need a towel because I do not want to get chemicals all over a cutting board. Okay. So now our film is all in, ready to go, ready for the big time. So what do we use? What do we use? Now, you need 3 basic chemicals. You need developer, you need stop bath, and you need fixer. Developer is exactly what it sounds like. It develops the film. Stop bath stops the developing process, and what fixer does is that it removes all remaining undeveloped silver out of the film and makes it so that the film is fixed to the fixed to the plastic, and it makes it so that you can take it out in full light and it will not be harmed. Those are your 3 basic chemicals. That's really all you need for this. And Twitch is reminding me that we have some we have some forced capitalism coming up, so you're going to have an ad break. If you want to avoid the ad breaks, either you can subscribe, you can throw money at me, and get rid of the ads altogether. Whatever you like to do, or See, that's what happens when you type instead of using voice. Yeah, well. So, but yes, so I use 5 different chemicals. In addition to the developer, stop bath, and fixer, I use a chemical called Wash Aid, which reduces my final rinse time. And then I use a chemical called Ilfotol, which is basically it's a drying aid. It's like I call it jet dry for film. So if you own a dishwasher, if you have jet dry, the purpose of jet dry makes it so that it reduces water spots on your dishes. Ilfotol is the same idea as jet dry, except instead of for dishes, it's for film, and it prevents water spots from showing up, because nothing is more frustrating than trying to edit out a water spot when you're working on images. So, because I shoot with Ilford film, I develop with Ilford chemicals. It's not a requirement. You just buy new dishes. Solid plan there. Why didn't I think of that? You're doing it the easy way. Just where was I? Oh yeah. So I use Ilford chemicals when I shoot Ilford film. It's not a hard and fast requirement. You can absolutely use different companies' chemicals. Like when I was in college, when I used to shoot like the cheap shit, like Arista black and white film, and even Ilford HP5, when that was considered like the student film. Our college's darkroom, what was the developer? Kodak D76, Photo Flow. We had a third-party company that did the fixer. So it is not a requirement that you use the matching chemicals for the film that you're shooting. I just have it because it makes things easier in my brain, and yeah. So the developer that I use is Ilford ID11. It's basically the same stuff as Kodak D76. Stop bath is stop bath, and fixer is fixer. So, The next thing you have to determine is your developing time. And that is entirely dependent on the film that you are using, the chemical that you're using, and the temperature of that chemical. The temperature being the most important, because that determines your developing time. I know from memory that Ilford Delta 400 speed film, shooting it at box speed, I know that at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius, for those of you who do not use American freedom units, that is 14 minutes at 68 degrees. If your chemicals are warmer, that's going to be less time. If your chemicals are colder, then it's going to be a longer time. And there are conversion charts that are all the way out that you can find them very easily. I like to shoot at 68 degrees whenever possible. And before I came online, I made sure to warm up my chemicals because right now my house temperature is 64 degrees. So I didn't want to do the conversion in my head. So I used my handy dandy film chemistry warming device, which will make an appearance when I have to shoot the second roll, because I'm going to have to warm up those chemicals at that point. But actually right now they're sitting in jugs on the floor, and I have radiant heat on the first floor of this house, so maybe that'll help as we develop the this roll of film here. So Photoflow sounds like a photography hip hop group from the 90s, so the name Photoflow in this context, there's no W. It was just Photoflow, no W. So now you're really jazzing it up there. So oh, where am I? Dev 1. So I'll put up the steps so we can all follow along together. So the chemicals are all colorless with the exception of the stop bath. The stop bath looks like an incredibly dehydrated person's urine. So if your urine looks like that, please hydrate. For the love of God, please hydrate. In fact, I should actually do so because I need to actually... I'm probably heading to bed in like 3 hours, so I need to finish hydrating. So, all right. Let's finish this. All right. Also, the only chemical that has any sort of scent is Fixer. The Fixer smells like vinegar. It's not, but it smells like vinegar. It smells like Easter egg coloring solution. But I have two ways to tell the chemicals apart. For one, I've written dev stop and fix, so I know which chemicals are which. And also, I'm like, nope, okay, that's developer. If your developer has a smell, it's gone bad. And chuck it. Yeah, right, Lopez guy? All right, so these chemicals are already at 68 degrees Fahrenheit because I warmed them up before we started. So we're ready to go. So let me just make sure that my development timer is set for 14 minutes, which it is. So that's how I know what to do here. Ready to go? Now, once you start, you are committed. You must see this through to the very end. Cheers, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Minutes starts right now. And now we constantly agitate this for the first 30 seconds. Constant agitation. We are covering all of the film herein. This particular developing tank holds 20 ounces. Exactly, low base guy. You get it. And now we're underway. At the top of each minute, I will then constantly agitate the tank for 10 seconds. And the reason for this constant agitation is that it's to promote even developing. So that we are constantly cycling the developer over the film so that, you know, you don't get tired developing in just one half of the film. So there are 3 ways to prepare developer, your working developer's stock. And while I do that, before I explain that, I need to start getting my rinse water to temperature here because ideally, you want to have everything the same. Like you want to have your temperature as consistent as possible. So like all of my chemicals are at 68 degrees, so I want to have my rinse water also around 68 degrees. Doesn't need to be exact. Black and white film is very forgiving in that regard. So as I said, 3 different ways to prepare your developing. You can do what's called stock developing, in which you are using nothing but the developer right out of the jug. I typically don't like to do that because that's your quickest developing. You can do it. It's perfectly valid. I just don't. It's very quick, and I like to have the time to do things like get my rinse water ready because I do not work in a professional darkroom setting where I just have a thermostat and, you know, perfect 68 degree water comes out every time. I actually have to fidget with faucets that if you move 1 micrometer the wrong way, you go from ice to lava. So the second type of development preparation is 1-to-1, which is what I use, which is 1 part chemical to 1 part water. That's a nice standard middle of the road. That's how I was taught, and so that's what's been lodged in my brain ever since. And then the other method, the third and final method, and this doesn't typically work with all film. It's the 1-to-3 method, where it's 1 part chemical to 3 parts water. Like you are really diluting your developer. I don't really know what benefit developing 1-to-3 does. I've never done it. But at one point, do you buckle your shoe? I think that might be like the 8-9 solution. That's oh no, what is that? 7, 8, 16. Yeah, whatever. Like the next film that we're going to develop, the Ilford Delta 3200. It is specifically in the instructions that you cannot do one-to-one developing with this film. The only way to develop it with the ID11 that I use is to develop it with stock, so just right out of the jug. Which means I'm very glad that I made a whole new jug of developer earlier this afternoon. Yeah, I realized, I was like, oh crap, I've never developed Ilford Delta 3200 before. What's the development time on 3200? And I looked at the developing chart and it went, it only gave me, there's times for stock, 1-to-1 and 1-to-3. There was the 1-to-1 and 1-to-3 rows were all blank. The only numbers in there were for stock developer, and I went, okay, that's probably because the silver grains are so huge that you need the full strength developer. Good evening, Anxious Bill. Welcome on in. Welcome to this fine, sophisticated program that we call Constant Agitation. For you, it was a week or two. Okay, yes. If you send your film out for developing, then you don't have to worry about this. But, you know, the closest lab to me is like a 25-minute drive, and they only do film developing 1 day a week. Well, that makes 3 of us that are like, life. Don't talk to me about life. I will say, though, for Christmas, my spouse did get me a kit to develop color film. So that is on my to-do list. The problem is that color film, developing color film by hand, is so much more involved. It's less forgiving. There's so much more room for error, and it's considerably more toxic. I mean, it's also been a while, Anxious Though, that I've been able to actually stream with any sort of consistency because I was at the mercy of whether my cable broadband would be up to the task. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, Low Base. I'll eventually put up. I even put out. Last night when I did my Turok stream, I did not have a single dropped frame, which was amazing. Because even on my better stream nights when I had my old internet service provider, I would still wind up with dropped frames at some point. Water is just about where it should be. But color film to develop color film by hand is considerably more toxic. I have to figure out how I can do it in this house safely because I need, most importantly, I need proper ventilation because the chemicals are far more toxic. You have some forced capitalism coming up, so enjoy your ads. Or throw money at me to get rid of those ads. Wink. Three and a half minutes, and then we go to Stop Bath. So this roll of film that I am currently developing is the last roll that I shot when my spouse and I went to the Boston and surrounding area for our wedding anniversary, right at a Halloween weekend, start of November. So I shot a couple of rolls at the oldest cemeteries in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. So we're going to be having a film editing stream at some point soon, where I will be editing the images of dead things. Lexington and Concord, the two sites that kicked off the American Revolution. Very convenient that in Lexington the cemetery is literally right next to the battlefield. Very convenient. Concord, you had to search a little bit more, but I found it. But yeah, like the biggest thing I have to worry about is that the fixer, the chemical that you use as fixer for color film is bleach. So I cannot be having, you know, bleach fumes around without a good way to actually ventilate that. So I'm still trying to figure out how I can set it up so that I can do it here safely. Because the chemicals for black and white film are not particularly toxic. I mean, if you consume them, they might give you a bit of a bad time. They're not going to kill you. You're just going to... you might feel like you want to be dead. I'm developing this. I'm touching these chemicals with my bare hands. If I was using color film, I would absolutely be using rubber gloves. All right. We are about to pour in minutes have elapsed. Now I'm going to pour in the Stop Bath, which does exactly what it says on the tin. The main ingredient, the active ingredient in Stop Bath, at least in Ilford's Stop Bath, is citric acid. I'm not necessarily suggesting that you take orange juice and pour it down the developing The fixture to use is Ray Donovan. How Turok? I mean, the game that I've been playing, Turok 2. I mean, I've played it before. I've beaten it before. The PC remaster does a lot of nice quality of life improvements over the N64 original. It's not just a graphical update. All right. Another 5 more of these inversions, and then we'll be good to go. Doesn't take long. All right. Just really needs a minimum of 30 seconds. Next up is the fixer. And as I explained before, fixer is going to remove any remaining undeveloped silver from the emulsion. So let's get that. Step 3. All right. And the fixer we're going to treat the same as the developer. We're going to pour it in, and then we get a constant agitation for the first 30 seconds. I have not played the Dead Space remaster just yet. I think I own it. But I most certainly have not played it. And I mean, I love the original Dead Space. I am going to have to do the rest of the trilogy at some point. Like, I did the first game on PC, because I have it. I have the trilogy for PS3. But I also have the first game for PC as well, the original first game. And oh, who did that? Was that another BioWare or EA? I forget which one. But either way, the company that initially did Dead Space, they did full controller support for the first one, and didn't bother doing it for the second or third one, saying that they ran out of time. Which to me sounds like a very bullshit excuse. So that's why I do not own 2 and 3 on Steam, because I know there are people that will swear by keyboard and mouse. I'm not one of them. I'll have to check my PS5 library. I think I might have it. But like, as far as video games are concerned, so right now I'm doing Turok 2, and I think the next one that I'm going to be doing after that is going to be the original Resident Evil, in celebration of its 30th anniversary. It's basically a do-over, because when I did Resident Evil a few years ago on Twitch, I did not know at the time that the version I was playing was the very shitty second version of the director's cut. I did not know there were 2 versions of Resident Evil director's cut, and the version I was playing was the second version, because that was the one that was on the PlayStation Network store for PS3. They used the graphics. They used the box art of the first director's cut, but they sold you the second version of the director's cut, which has a much different, shittier soundtrack. Because I remember playing that on Twitch, and I'm like, I don't remember this soundtrack at all. This music does not feel right. And then later I find out, you know, Because it wasn't. It was a completely different soundtrack, redone by a fraud. I will not go into detail on that particular juicy aspect of the re-release of Resident Evil. Look it up sometime. You don't have to use keyboard and mouse, just means statistically I will stomp you in multiplayer. Aha! Well, I can solve that problem. I will never play multiplayer. Ha-ha! This battle of wits is over! Alright, we're done with the fixer now. So if, at this point, if I had an actual working darkroom and like I could make prints from it, I would actually be taking this fixer and dumping it into a used fixer container, and I could use this fixer for prints. Alas, I do not, so it is going to get dumped. Rinse water is at temperature, so we're going to change over. We're going to go to first rinse. And the first rinse is really just a minute. Now, if I did not have the other two chemicals that I'm going to use, the washate and the Ilfotol, this would be the last step. This would be the last step. I just let it run under running water for like 15-20 minutes, and I'd be done. I would be done. But if you are in a place where you have to pay for water, you know. I mean, also when I was in college, I also had be like developing film between classes, so I couldn't really stick around and just let it do so. No. So the next chemical I'm going to use after this first rinse is another chemical called washade. And what the washade will do is it will remove any residual fixer still hanging on, and will cut my final rinse time down to like 15-20 minutes to 5 minutes. Yep. And the only multiplayer game is the one MMO I play, and that is begrudgingly. Alright. Did we get warmer? Did you get warmer without me knowing about it? That's alright. It wasn't too much warmer. Not nowhere close enough to where I would poach the film. Like 72. All right. Next up, is our washade, which again I've already prepared here. 20 ounces of this delicious stuff. This will be for 2.5 minutes, and we will be constantly agitating the entire time. So this is where you get your arm workout in. This is where you get the arms. I just noticed that. Boo! Boo! Washate sounds like. I'd acquiesce to that if Freddie Mercury was the headliner, Logan. Excellent. I knew Parker was lurking in the background. You're going to want me to put on a hat. Well, you're going to have to wait, sir, until I am done with Arm Day here. But a hat will happen. You have redeemed it. Yes, I removed the hydrate option, actually specifically because I've been keeping myself way too hydrated. I know, but like ever since I had my first kidney stone back in 2020, I've made it a habit to basically overhydrate. The problem with that is that if I am chugging water basically up until bedtime, it means I have to get up at like 3, 4 times in the middle of the night to piss, which is really wreaking havoc on my sleep, particularly recently. Like, really, you're supposed to stop hydrating like 3 hours before bed. But yes, once this goes into the final rinse, I will fish out a hat. So it's like trying to find a delicate balance. It's like, okay, you want to stay hydrated so that, I'm not encouraging more kidney stones, but at the same time, it's like, oh, if I'm chugging water right up until bedtime, I am going to absolutely regret this. And also, I have sleep apnea. I wear a CPAP. So every time I have to get up to go to take a piss, it's a production. I have to take off the mask, go to the bathroom, go pee, come back, put the mask, fuck it. All right. We have done the thing. Yeah, that did get warmer. Again, not too badly. Yeah, 70 degrees. Not bad. All right. Let's get rid of the wash sheet. See, it's nice and sudsy. It's not soap. You probably can't see it, but how I know that it's picked up residual fixer is that there's a slight purplish tinge to it, very slight. And this could also be reused for prints as well. So, all right. So now we take this and we're going to put this in an open tank. We're good to go. So we're just going to put this down here. We're going to get this going and final rinse. Five minutes. And I'm going to put on a hat because Parker redeemed the reward. There we go. Yeah, okay, so Anxious Doe, I had that problem as well. Yeah, like there were 2 or 3 theaters here, and they only showed it for like the first week or two, and only like one showing a day. For like one, so I had to catch. I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck? Because I saw the poster for it in a nearby mall, and yeah. So I'm lucky to have caught it when I did. There you go. Hope you're satisfied. I broke out the Sonic hat. I'm like, which hat of mine is it easy to actually fit these gigantic headphones around? And Sonic fits the bill just fine. So while that is actually doing its final rinse thing, I'm actually going to start getting set up for uh, roll number 2. This is what I mean by you have to be careful. I have to be very careful with this faucet because one micrometer, and I'm either going from ice to lava. I swear to God. And I'm very glad, Lobase, that you show up for this wonderful quality programming. Does this work? Does this still work now? Yes, it does. All right. So, for those of you who have noticed the logo down in the there we are, down in the corner. That's the web creative community. I'm part of it. Even though I don't do a whole lot of art streams, I'm still a part of it. It's a great group of creatives, a lot of photographers, and it's the whole assemblage is sort of loosely held together by Low Bass Guy. Go join it. Go join it. I command you. Although, if Discord goes tits up, well then, the web team might be moving elsewhere. All right, so let's just get this jug of Ilfotol ready. Stop that, ready. Let's get Fixer. Fixer's already out. Circle. Oh man, like I miss web rings. I miss web rings so much. Because you know, if Discord starts asking for like age verification, you have to show them, like you have to, face scans and provide IDs. Like, nope, see ya. All right, we're gonna leave this water running because I have a second roll of film that needs developing. But let us make with the Ilfotol. It's the last step. It's the jet dry, as I have explained. Make sure that it is, in fact, the right bottle. Because, again, every chemical, except for the stop bath, is is colorless. We put in just enough to cover the film. We don't need to go crazy. One minute. Yes, while that's going on, let's put these on because I'm about to handle the film. And the film is very, very vulnerable at this stage. because the emulsion is very slick and very wet. I know that's what she said. But the last thing I want is to be touching wet emulsion with my bare hands, because in addition to the absolute frustration that is trying to edit a water spot out on film, trying to edit a fingerprint out is a billion times worse. And I usually will not know if a fingerprint has shown up on the film until after I've scanned it. Because nothing is more frustrating than opening up an image in Capture One or Audacity, just seeing this big old right on the negative there. All right. So here we are, moment of truth. I've got dead things, and I did not shoot the full roll. I only shot 11 on this. So I have a clean break. But there we are. Those look tasty. Those absolutely look tasty. I'm excited. All right. I am going to be right back. I am going to hang this up, and we'll get ready to start the second roll right after this. Alrighty. So let's get our second roll ready to go here. Hey. There we go. Alright, so roll number 2 is right here. Now this is the roll that I have never shot with. I've never shot with Ilford Delta 3200 speed film. So this is going to be an experience. We're going to find out together. Oh, I left a light on in the hallway. Move it. Yeah, I can absolutely see that. Okay, so let me just get the rest of the chemicals out of here first. Just put stop bath in here. So I only made enough for 2 rolls, so this really should be the rest. Yep. 20 ounces there. Mixer. Yep, you're fixed. Yep. 20 ounces on the dot. I only made 40 ounces. I'll take that out shortly. Developer. Yes, I used the last of my old developer for the roll that I just shot, for the roll I just developed, I mean, and I made a brand new batch of developer earlier this afternoon. I'm very glad I did, not knowing at the time that I cannot do one-to-one developing for Delta 3200. I have to use full strength right out of the jug developer for this. This will not work with one-to-one. Here so that not to dilute. All right. Oh, there it is. All right. So normally I'd be mixing 10 ounces of developer to 10 ounces of water. We're not doing that for this film. We're doing 20 ounces of just straight developer here. So we are in somewhat uncharted territory. I think I've only ever done just a straight developer style of development, I think once or twice. I mean, it'll rot your insides about as well as moonshine, so, you know, there's that. Temperature of my developer to be close to 68 degrees as possible. If not, I will warm it up with my handy dandy film chemistry warming device. So I'll just let that sit for a minute so I can get a temperature. The only thing it's missing is a cork for... The funny thing is that all of these jugs, all of these glass jugs I bought from the B&H website, from B&H Photo. These are jugs made by, I think, the Photographer's Formulary. They are meant for film chemistry, but obviously, you can, you know, put whatever booze you want in there, quite frankly. I ain't gonna tell on you. All right, what's my developing time? Let me consult my chart. Delta 3200 is with ID 11. Yeah, no 1-to-1, no 1-to-3. At box speed at 3200, which is what I'm doing. It is 10.5 minutes. Wow. 10.5 minutes on straight developer. Whereas whenever I shoot Delta 100 using 1-to-1, it's 11 minutes. Wow. All right. Film grain ahoy. All right. Cool. Can't show your jugs on stream. Oh. Here you go, Twitch. Suck on these. Bam! Instant. Sorry, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll get all these sun. Done. All right, what's my dev temperature? Really? We're actually at 68? Yeah, having them on the floor with the radiant heat actually bumped them up. Well, the developer I just pulled out of the bathroom, so cool. Cool. All right, so I'll actually just need to fire up my film chemistry warming device for just a short bit. Those are male presenting jugs. Yes. God, I hate that expression so much. Female presenting nipples. As if nipples are gendered. Don't get me started on that rant. The reason I no longer share any of my photography on Tumblr. I mean, the reason I kind of stopped using Tumblr at all. I used to have quite a bit of a following on Tumblr for my photography, and then they instituted the porn ban, even though you can still find all the porn you want on Tumblr. But any of my images I share on there, you know, no, that's it, shunned forever. I mean, you chose to pay the penalty, so... You puts in your nickel and you takes your choice. Focus, thank you. Suddenly I have a refreshing mint flavor. Okay. Fix is where it should be. Dev is also where it should be. Cool. All right. So I'm going to let the timer drop to 10 minutes and 30 seconds, which is where it has to be for this process. So, 3.5 minutes. Because I can't adjust on the fly like that. But, again, thank you for spending some of your Saturday evening with me. And you're spending some of your Valentine's Day with me. Again, also happy Discount Chocolate Eve or day. Some places I was out today. Some places have already marked it down. So get that discount chocolate if you can, because Cadbury cream eggs are a-coming. As well as Peeps, the worst Easter candy in my humble opinion. I think they just recycle Peeps. I think they were all... I take the Lewis Black approach. All the Easter Peeps were created in 1835, and they just wash them and recycle them every year. Something I like to do, low base, is that the day after Easter, or the day of Easter, if I go somewhere that's open, and they still have a bunch of Cadbury cream eggs left, I will buy dozens of Cadbury eggs so that I can just have them all year long until next Easter. And so, you know, I forget that I have them. So I'll open the freezer and be like, oh shit, I've got Cadbury eggs, and you know. Yeah, it's like candy corn. They don't wash it. Even though they say it's like candy corn, even though Lewis Black, oh, they wash it. They wash it. Do they? Do they? This marshmallow peep tastes like arsenic. Well, Easter peeps were actually a foundational ingredient in Lydia Pinkham's medicinal compound. Oh, great. All right. Once that timer goes down to 10:30, we are going to pour this in. Again, this is we're developing Delta 3200. This is the first roll of Delta 3200 I've ever shot, and it's the first one I've ever developed. And we're doing something a little different. We're deviating from my usual 1-to-1 on the developer. We have to use full strength developer for this. No dilution at all. Yeah, Anxious. So I was at CVS today, and I saw that they had already discounted it. All right. Are we ready? Oh! Thank you for the gift sub, Low Base. Holy shit! I'll have to jot you down in the book once I'm done stream. Here we go. So I have to assume that because the directions for this film state specifically that you cannot use a dilution of... Because you cannot use a dilution, I assume that means is because... the diluted developer would be too weak. The silver grains in 3200 speed film are so large that the developing time would take so long. Thank you so much for the gift sub, Low Base. Awesome. Also, for those of you who are in the chat, Low Base is also an amazing photographer. He streams a lot. He streams a lot more than I do. He streams so much more than I do. So be sure to check him out. And also follow his socials. He does a lot of great photography. Do it. Do it now! But yeah, Anxious Toe. So the reason why the reason why the directions for this film specifically say to use just straight stock developer, don't dilute it, is because if you dilute it, it will take so long for it to actually develop. And considering that it takes 10.5 minutes at normal developing for just straight developer, I can't imagine what the times are like, what the time would have to be for a diluted setup. Because that is what the film speed number is. Like if you know, growing up, if you shot film, you saw 100, 400, 800, and so on. That was a measure of film sensitivity to light, and also tells you how big the silver grains are in film. So like a 100 speed film is a very fine grain film. It's recommended that you use it in bright conditions. You don't need a lot. Sold! Your number, sir. Thank you. Lot 665, ladies and gentlemen. A music box shaped as a barrel organ with a figure of a monkey in Persian robes playing the cymbals. This item, discovered in the vaults of the theater, still in working order, ladies and gentlemen. So the higher you go in the higher you go in film speeds, so as the number gets bigger, the more light you actually need to generate an image. To actually, the more light you need to cause a reaction on the light sensitive side of the emulsion. So I shot this in a rather dimly lit old Gilded Age mansion in Lenox, Massachusetts called Ventford Hall. And I knew that if I was either going to need a tripod or a film that could stand up to that dim light. And so this is an experiment. I want to see how these came out. And what is art? What is art? It's just experimentation. Actually, Anxious Joe, that's a very good segue into my. I forgot to set the timer for my random photography fact of the night. So that will that's a nice segue into the photography fact that I wanted to share. So I've shared before that. The thing that I shared before ages ago was that the very first digital camera was invented in 1975. It was invented by someone who worked at Kodak. Stephen Sasson, actually, is his name. He invented it in 1975. It weighed 8 pounds and shot 0.01 megapixels. That's the part I didn't share. I told you, I said on past streams that was invented in 75. But think about that. Think about that. Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975 and sat on that patent for decades because they thought that digital photography would never catch on. Film was always going to be king. So what happened, Kodak? How did that mindset? How you doing? I'll actually show you a picture of it. Well, I've got a little time. Let's see if I can do a little screen share here. I have a display capture up. Do I have it on this setting? I'll show you it in a bit. It's not on this particular setup. I'll have to switch scenes in, but I will show you what it looked like. It's a frickin' monstrosity, is what it looked like. And it's funny because my Pentax, my medium format film camera, when it's got its lens on, it weighs about 5, and that's already just when you're shooting all day and you have that dangling around your neck. At the end of the day, you feel like Frodo climbing up Mount Doom. I know there are plenty of devices out there for photographers. I think, Lobase, you actually mentioned one to me a while ago. some manner of like camera harness thing that I then looked up on B&H and went, yep, those are dollars I don't have. Eventually. That's what it was. Yep. And it would certainly make my life a lot easier, especially if I'm doing shoots where I'm lugging both my Canon 70D and my Pentax. Hey! Jason, you hot, sexy thing. You welcome. Welcome to some constant agitation! I'm currently in the middle of developing roll number 2, so you came at a good time. I know my sync's on. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's when I have to rinse everything at the end of all of this. Who doesn't love a good number 2? Ah. 1 minute left just on the first step. This has been developing for the last, it'll be, when it's done, 10.5 minutes. Then we have to go into step 2, which is the stop bath. Then there's step 3, which is the fixer. And then there's rinses and other chemicals involved. Don't worry. Developer, stop bath, fixer, rinse. Yes. It's been a while, Jason, since you've caught one of these. I'll forgive you. Who doesn't love a good number 2? I mean, low bass, I'm a switch, so I mean I can do whatever you like. All right. 10.5 minutes have elapsed. We're going to pour this developer out, and we're going to go into the stop bath. And remember, this was full strength right out of the jug developer. No dilution here. Full strength. Nice cocktail mixer for you. Not for this part, because I'm not actually making photographic prints. Oh yeah, this is the developing tank. All right, we're gonna do this for like 15 inversions. Doesn't need much. Oh yeah, you missed the start of this thing, Jason. I went through in great detail about what we did. But don't you worry. Don't you worry. As always, this stream and all of my other constant agitation streams are on my YouTube channel. So. Forced capitalism coming up because that's Twitch for you. Another 5 more of these, and then we'll move on to the fixer. Oh, no. I can break out the jugs again. That's a nice party trick. There you go, my jugs. They bring everybody to the yard. It's not a milkshake, but you know. And then we go, instant ban. The Puritans of Twitch strike again. All right. Next up is the fixer. Next step. Again, If you did not, if you're joining me late here, what this does, the fixer, it removes any remaining undeveloped silver, which will make the film, therefore, safe to come out into the light. In the small quantities that I use these for, Jason, yes. If I was an industrial lab, not really. All right, we're now in the fixer portion of this, and it's just like the developer. Constant agitation for the first 30 seconds. You went and you ate subpar sushi. Oh, that's depressing. Subpar sushi is that'll tend to repeat on you. So, Fixer specifically, if I shot a bunch of film constantly, like if I was an industrial lab, since I said that this is removing any remaining undeveloped silver, it means that that silver that was on the film has transferred over to the Fixer. And so if you were an industrial lab developing a lot of film, there's enough silver floating around in that liquid that you can actually draw it out. When I used to work in the when I used to work at a photo lab in Walmart, we had what was called a silver. So I'll back up for Jason, who was probably caught by the ad break. So Fixer, because again, it's taking what's left out, what silver's left out of the film. There's silver floating around in the Fixer solution. If you're an industrial lab, you want to claim that. Hi, Jason, welcome back. We had a silver reclamation unit in our photo lab at Walmart, and at the end of the day, I would pour the used Fixer down this silver reclamation unit, and it would take the silver out. And we'd send that back to Fuji. Another gift sub! Jesus! Lowbase, you're just making it rain here. We are 7 subs away from a print giveaway. Well, Parker and Jason now have no ads on my stream for the next month. I was just at Subway this afternoon. That was my breakfast. Yeah! Jason is spreading the love, and we have a hype train! Holy shit! So for the next 5 minutes, as the hype, if that meter builds, there will be emotes that get passed around. All right, we are about done with the Fixer. I pull out the juts. I gotta have, that's, yeah, I should do that more often. I should get one of those really like sexy like VTuber things. But no, you're getting all me, baby. All right, first rinse. So yeah, again, if I was an industrial lab, I would actually be saving this rather than pouring it down the drain. If I had an actual dark room where I was making prints, I'd be saving this silver, this fixer, instead of pouring it down the drain. But the amount of silver that's in this fixer is nowhere even near enough. It's practically immeasurable. I think I saw it online once that basically to get an ounce of silver from film developing, from fixer, I would need to develop something like 100 rolls in very quick succession. All right, let's get the wash shade ready to go. So again, this roll of film that I'm developing presently, I've never shot with before. I've never developed it before. So we are all going to find out together what this thing looks like at the end of it. Where is my wash shade? There it is. Approximately 100 rolls of film to get about an ounce. Yeah. To be able to reclaim an ounce of actual metallic silver. I was going to say, yeah, okay, $75 an ounce for silver, but the amount of money that I had to spend on film and chemicals would easily, like, dwarf that. That would be such a piss-poor investment. All right, let's go to WashAid. Now for our arm workout here. Where the hell's my lid? There it is. Need the lid. Can't have WashAid going all over the place. As a Bible, yes, that's basically it. And so what we used to do at Walmart was that, you know, we'd collect all this silver and then we'd give it back to either Kodak or Fuji. I think it was Fuji. And then they would just recycle it. They'd use it for more film more film creation. It would just get recycled. All right, WashAid timer's on. 2.5 minutes. So what WashAid is now doing is that it is now removing any residual fixer. Another 30 seconds on the hype train. We are constantly agitating for 2.5 minutes. And that is the end of the hype trade. Again, thank you so much for the gift subs, guys. Every penny that I make on Twitch goes right back into my photography, so thank you all so much. I also do have a Redbubble shop, and I also have a Patreon. If you sign up for my Patreon at the $5 per month level or higher, you get a physical print. Every month, I send you in the mail one of my images, and it's any image. It could be one of my nudes, it could be one of my architecture images, it could be one of my cemetery images. It could be a nature image. It's whatever I'm feeling that month. think if you type in exclamation point art, I think it pulls up the link to my card page where all of those links are buried. Yeah, I just sent out this month's prints to my patrons who throw that level of money at me, and everyone who is on my Patreon, all paid members, get that month's image as a digital download. So yeah, all paid patrons get the digital print, but only the $5 per month or higher get that same print mailed to them. All right, we are done with the wash aid. I believe. Yep, brianjfrench.card.co. That's where all my links are. All the places you can find me and my art smeared across the internet. All right, photo flow is done. Nice sudsy look. Now we're going to do final rinse. And we'll do this in an open tank. Somebody redeemed the hats off to you reward earlier, so I threw on the Sonic hat. So thank you. All right, let me get my last jug here, the Ilfitol. That's the last stop. Switch it up. All right. Well, good time for it. I'll be right back. This is going to be a little trickier. Let's see. Oh yeah, I won't be wearing this one for long. But yeah, wearing my my Ren Fair hat, one of them. Thank you. Speaking of Sonic, you're working on your third Amy. Why am I not surprised? You've always had a soft spot for Amy. Thank you, Jason. This is one of my Renaissance Fair hats. I love to go to Renaissance fairs during the spring and summer. I'm hoping to do more of those this year. I know we have the announcements now for the Capital District Renaissance Fair. That's the Renaissance Fair that's half an hour away from me. And then we also now have the dates for New York Renaissance Fair. I'm still waiting to see Maryland Renaissance Fair. And I might actually go to King Richard's this fall in Massachusetts. They relocated. They're at a new site as of last year, and so I wanted to give them just a little bit of a transition period. So hopefully I'll go this year. I know, yeah, twist my arm. Twist my arm. But Maryland is my favorite Ren Fair. Maryland is so much fun. It's the biggest one I've ever been to. But yeah, I've been going to Ren fairs since I was 11, so that's almost 30 years now. My dad brought my sister back from a thief for a bite of sandwich, for a bite of sandwich. Oh yeah, they're serious, you know. As we are starting to wind down here, getting near the end here. Just again, thank you so much for spending some of your Saturday evening with me. I again very, very much appreciate the pleasure of your company. Thank you so much for the gift subs. It's been a nice stream, a nice way to spending it with all of you, and also with my first love, which is black and white film. So. As my spouse is presently in another country this particular Valentine's Day, so we'll get to do something in a week when they come home. So, but we are very nearly at the point where I'm going to pull the film out of that developing tank and see what hell has been wrought, because no idea. Okay, yeah, I need to take this off. This is going to fall right off my head in just a moment. Okay, now we can turn it off. That was almost not good. Nurse! In the words of Nefertiti, not tonight, it's my pyramid. Thank you, Robin Williams. All right, last stop. All right, Ilfitol. Now we just pour it again. Just so that it covers the film. We don't need to go crazy with it.
You're going to meet some interesting people.
1 minute. Cheers. Ah! And Fwa joins us. And now I have completed the set. That's sucked into an ad. Ah, I love it. I love it. God, I of all of the changes that Twitch has made, having forced ads every 15 to 20 minutes, I hate it. I hate it so much. But welcome, Flaw. How was your Final Fantasy VIII playing after I left last night? Where did you wind up making it to? All right. Anxious Doe, ads during stream ads were not a thing at all. They only you had the option of either having ads at the start of the stream, which was called pre-roll. So when you clicked on someone's channel, you would get ads at the start, and then you wouldn't get them again. Now it is Twitch decided, well, if we can force ads on people on every stream, we can make it sound, we can make more money. So the now forced ads every 15 to 20 minutes is a complete, it's to force people to buy subscriptions, because Twitch gets 50% of all subscriptions. So if you pay, it's $6 per month for a sub, I get $3 of that. Twitch gets $3 of that. So, but they figured, hey, more ads means more money for them. So, anyway, we are now done with the second and final roll of film. So now we're all gonna see what this looks like together. I have never developed. Again, I've never developed Ilford Delta 3200. We're gonna see what we got. I've either ruined it or we've got shit. I have no idea. Well, there's definitely images. There's definitely probably some underexposure in places. But I'm curious. I did not, So, well, I at least did not ruin the film. I'm going to see in a couple of days, I'm going to scan this film and see what we got. So I'm going to hang this up to dry. I'm going to be right back in just a minute. And then we'll wrap it all up. All right. Well, there we are. You have seen me develop 2 rolls of film. And so probably, there's going to be an editing stream this week. I mean, I have a 3-day weekend, so we might actually have, I might do one Monday afternoon. We'll see how my day looks, but if not, possibly Thursday evening as well is another opportunity. So, before I go, I wanted to show you what the first digital camera ever looked like. So let me see if I can switch screens here. Let's see. Oh, there. I disappeared. Aha! There we go. Okay. So can you see that? Anxious Doe. That is what the first digital camera looked like. Steven Sasson invented the world's first digital camera in 1975. He was working at Kodak, and the first digital camera weighed more than 8 pounds and was 0.01 megapixels. So, yeah. So, 1975, Kodak thought, yeah, this will never catch on. And then you cut to the early 2000s and digital starts to explode, and Kodak's still like, yeah, nah, it's just a fad. No one's gonna, this isn't gonna catch on. And then Kodak went bankrupt. So, you know, they still exist, but they are a shell of what they used to be. So, like I know one other company that thought the same thing. That thought that print was going to be forever. You remember the bookstore chain Borders? They didn't think that internet was a thing. Like, they didn't think internet was a thing so much that they didn't even have their own website. So they're like, Amazon will never catch this. This Amazon thing is so terrible. With megapixels like that to the shot. So, all right, my friends. So that is basically it for me. We've again developed 2 rolls of film tonight, and so yeah, let's see if there's anyone else floating around on the Twitch lands that I can send you all over to. If anyone else is doing art on this fine day here. Let's see. You're doing that. You're doing that. Let's see. She's a brand new streamer and hasn't made affiliated? All right, then sure. We'll do that. We will do that. Let me just check on. Let's just see what they're actually doing before I send you all over. Oh, they're getting ready for, they're doing some painting stuff, or they're getting ready to do some painting stuff. So, all right. So, let's send you all to some fresh meat. Thank you all so much for spending some of your Saturday with me. Have a great rest of your Valentine's Day or your discount chocolate, whatever you like. Thank you for the gift subs, Jason and Low Base. And until I see you guys again, stay healthy, stay safe. Love you. Good night. And joy be with you all, everyone. Be well. I'll see you next time.